So Ritik, let's start.
Okay. Hello and welcome everyone to the 1 week faculty development program on skill development for employability and entrepreneurship. Presented by Training and Placement Cell GJU and sponsored by All India Council for Technical Education. Let's start our second session without any further delay, and I would request Dr. Gauri Prabhu, Professor and Head Startup Cell AISSMS Institute of Management, Pune.
So just before start, I'd like to give a brief about Dr. Gauri Prabhu. She has done PhD in financial management from University of Pune, qualified set exam, MBA finance from University of Pune, MCom from University of Pune, and again BCom also from University of Pune. She has done a lot of certifications in finance markets, especially from Yale University, USA. She's also a certified mutual fund advisor and a French intensive certificate course. She has done diploma in computer application, a vast academic experience of 19 years as a professor, associate professor, professor, lecturer. She has been investment consultant also, and she worked in private industry also for 5 years as a manager finance, financial analyst, financial executive. So Dr. Prabhu, Dr. Gauri Prabhu itself, she's an institute. You can learn a lot of things from her. And I hope the students will get benefited with a lot of things from Dr. Gauri Prabhu. So I welcome Dr. Gauri Prabhu and we'll start the session.
Thank you, Dr. Aditya, for the kind introduction. You have said a lot of praise. Thank you very much. At the outset, I would like to welcome all the faculty, distinguished dignitaries, faculty members, and students for this session. I would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Guru Jambheshwar University, the Principal, Mr. Pratap Singh Malik, Director, Training and Placement, Dr. Aditya Veer Singh, Assistant Director, Training and Placement, and AICTE for giving me the opportunity to conduct this session. Sir, can you give me the rights to share, or I'm the co-host? Okay. So I'll just share the presentation. So today's session is on idea conceptualization and entrepreneurial mindset, the major key factors of entrepreneurship. I'll just make it the slideshow. 1 minute. In your first session, you had the introduction about entrepreneurship. And as far as the audience, which I see, we have got enthusiastic faculty members also attending, as well as students. I would like to say that in today's world, after your degree education, you generally go for jobs. That is a good thing. But if you have the passion, if you have the inclination to start a business, you would be the one who would be giving jobs to others. And I would say that at least 1 in 5 student has that intention of starting the business. Only there are certain things that he feels or she feels that is setting aside why, if what will happen if the business does not run successfully. But in this session, we will be saying how the idea is conceptualized, what mindset is required, and how you can go about starting a business successfully. And in turn, you will be recruiting people. Now let's start with what is idea. Now we'll have in this session some interactive session. It's not that I'll only be speaking. We'll have certain interactions. So I would suggest that you all can type in the chat the whatever questions I post to you all. Now the first question comes as what is an idea? As our session says, idea conceptualization and entrepreneurial mindset, major key factors. Now, what is an idea? Idea is a thought, a suggestion, a plan to do something, or an innovation. Generally, a thought comes to your mind. Okay, after my degree, I think of starting this restaurant business. This is the thought which has come to your mind. So it's an idea. A suggestion. Someone, if you have started if you are during your degree course, if you have invented certain product or certain technology, a suggestion by your professor or by your friends, that why don't you start a business, why don't you take a patent and start a business. That is the suggestion. So it's also an idea. A plan to do something. There are certain people who plan that, okay, after 5 years of my job, I've gained experience. I plan to do after 5 years, I'll start a business. So that is the plan. So that is also an idea. And innovation. Suppose during your course of study, you come out with an innovation, and you feel that this innovative technology or this product is going to help the society. So you start with the idea of starting a business. Is my volume audible to all
Yes.
of you all? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Now we have seen what is an idea. Now let's see, what does conceptualization of idea mean? Now in the starting, I'm just taking little brief introduction about the topic, and then we will go to the practical aspect. Conceptualization of idea. Now what is the problem that the idea solves? Generally, when the idea comes to your mind, it is something which it should be solving certain problem. It should be helpful to the society. Who is the consumer for the idea? Now, for example, in earlier times, we had only landline phones. And when this landline phone was at home and at offices. Now, when the marketing people wanted to communicate with each other, they found it very difficult. They had to go to office, then they had to call up the person, they had to take appointment and go about, or they had to go at the local phone booths. Now, considering this problem of communication, one person thought of introducing the pager system. So pagers were there where messages could be sent over pagers. Now this is the problem of communication which has been solved through pager. So you could communicate with the other pager and take the appointment and meet the person. Further, there was another problem that they wanted to speak. Now pager system didn't allow speaking to the person. So you had the introduction of mobile phones. So this is the problem of communication has been solved by the mobile phones. Now you have to find out who is the consumer for the idea. You have come out with a great idea, but who is the consumer? So the consumer is the people, the marketing people, then the people who are into business, or any person who requires for communication, that is the consumer. Does the idea solve the consumer's problem? So whatever idea comes to your mind, it should be able to solve the consumer's problem. And how will the solution be delivered to the consumer? Just coming out with an idea won't be enough. You need to see that the solution is delivered. Suppose today I say that I want to go to Mars. Okay, that is an idea. You want to have a spaceship to Mars, but this solution should be delivered to the consumer. Every person wants to go to Mars, but the solution should be delivered and it should be feasible for the consumer. So this is called as conceptualization of idea. The main point in conceptualization of idea is that it should solve the problem. It should have the consumer for the idea, and the solution should be deliverable. You should not have that just an idea which cannot be translated into a solution. Now, what's the difference between idea and opportunity? Can someone write in the chat the difference between idea and opportunity?
Idea is the aim or purpose, while opportunity is the implementation of that aim or purpose, like a chance to implement the same.
Yes, yes. Good attempt, Nitya. Anybody else? Okay, Ritik has written, an idea is a thought of starting a business in a particular field. Opportunity can be a scope already available in the market. Yes, rightly said. So most of you all have come to the point of idea and opportunity. Dr. Manish Kumar is saying, when an idea knowledge gets possible to convert it into a feasible problem solving method. Yes, right, Dr. Manish. So most of you all have given the right difference between an idea and opportunity. So let's come to the part, what is idea and what is opportunity. Idea is a solution to the problem, whereas opportunity is that leads to a desirable or viable business. Ideas have inspiration, whereas opportunities have value. So generally, idea is something where you're finding out a solution to the problem, whereas opportunity is something which is available in the market and which can be converted into your business. One of the person who had written in the chat, it has an opportunity, it's an opportunity available in the market. So you need to convert it into a business. Now let's see what is the process of converting idea into opportunity. First is the strategic fit. To have an opportunity, you need to have something which the market wants, or the market needs to want what you have. Now, by this statement, what it says is that when you are having an opportunity, you need to have something. Suppose you manufacture a product, and if the market does not want it, you will have just that inventory of the product in your business. So your product will not get sold. So one thing is, first thing that you need to find out is what is the market wanting, what is the demand for, and accordingly you need to see what opportunity is there for you to manufacture that product, or what you have manufactured, the market should need it. What they're saying, second statement, one is find out what the market wants, and second statement says that what you manufacture is what the market should need it. So the need should be there in the market. Business plan, you need to have a business plan to convert an idea to an opportunity. So first thing, you found out what the market wants, or you have manufactured a product which the market needs. Next is your business plan. Now in the business plan, just having the idea of starting the business is not enough. You need to prepare a business plan, and in the business plan, you'll write down the goals of your business. What goals you want to achieve. That first thing you will write. Then you will have the marketing and market analysis. That is which all states or which all countries in where you will be having your market for the product. So that you need to do the marketing analysis. Then you need to do financial projections. Now, financial projections are generally done for 5 years down the line. That is, first year, what will be my financial position? Second year, what? Maybe first 2 years, you may not have profit. Third year, you will have no profit, no loss. Fourth year onwards, you may have profit. Now, can anyone tell me why these financial projections are done? Why do we do the financial projections? We can just have the idea and the manufacturing process. Yes, you can unmute and answer.
Ma'am, so that we can trace our growth, our business growth.
Yes, right, Ritik. So you can find out exactly how you will be able to trace your growth. Further, who all requires this? Banks. When you go to the bank for taking the loan, banks will always ask you what are your financial projections for the next 5 years. On that basis, they will decide whether they can finance your business or not. So financial projections are required by other fund providing agencies like venture capitalists, etc. They also require how you are going to fund your business. So these are this is the business plan which will have marketing, financial, and HR also. How many people are you going to require in your business? So all these three aspects need to be considered in the business plan along with the goals. Then the next step of converting your idea into opportunity is a team. To deliver on an opportunity, a team is needed. Just a one-person man cannot run the business unless it is a small scale. If he has his capability of manufacturing as well as selling, raising funds, etc., one-man show may be possible. But generally, if you have a team, you can expand the market. So in your team, if it's an engineering product, you may require some engineers to work. Then if it is besides that, you require marketing people to market your product, one finance manager to handle the finance, and a few people as your business grows, you may expand on your HR team also. So you need a team to deliver the opportunity. So just when you are planning your business, you need to plan the team also. Leadership, you need to guide your team effectively. You are the main owner and you will be the leader who will guide your team effectively. Resources are needed to turn your idea into an opportunity. Now, what all resources are needed? Can anyone tell? Resources are needed to turn your idea into opportunity.
Capital.
Yes, Nitya. Capital is the main thing. Without finance, the business cannot run. Finance is the lifeblood of any business. So she rightly said capital. What else?
Human resource, manpower.
Yes, manpower. So these are two important resources, and after that you will be having all raw material, etc., machinery, land, all land for setting up your factory. Then if you are taking on rent, maybe the rental part is to be paid. Then machinery is required. Then people are required to work. So all these resources you need to gather. So what is the just having idea is not enough. You need to have the process of converting the idea into opportunity also in place. So before you start your business, you will prepare your business plan where all you will consider all these aspects. And the main thing is that the product which you are going to manufacture, there should be a market for that. Just having a good idea, and if the market is not there, suppose you have got a very good idea and you manufacture that product, but the market does not need it, then it's of no use. So you need to manufacture the product which the market needs. So we have seen what is an idea, we have seen what is difference between idea and opportunity, and we have seen process of converting idea into opportunity. Now comes the main part, spotting the opportunity. So when you want to start your business, when you want to become an entrepreneur, spotting the opportunity is the main part. You may have got good ideas, or you may not have an idea, but you find out what are the opportunities available in the market. So building team, products and services, IP, intellectual property, financing your business, sales and marketing, and spotting the opportunity is the foundation of any business. Now, where do entrepreneurs find the opportunity? I said that you need to spot the opportunity. Now, where will they find the opportunities? Now, as the word entrepreneur, you must have seen in the first session, from where the entrepreneur word has come. It's come from the French word entreprendre, means to undertake. a person who undertakes a new business, or a person who undertakes risk, a person who undertakes a new project is called as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is one who always searches for change, responds to it, exploits it as an opportunity. Innovation is the specific tool of the entrepreneurs, the means by which they exploit changes as an opportunity for a different business or services. This is the definition given by Peter Drucker. Now, in reality, what does the entrepreneur do? He first identifies a problem and then a solution to solve that problem. As I told you regarding the problem, we had identified how does one communicate with each other. So from landline, we went to pager. From pager, we went to mobile phones. So there was a problem and there was a solution. Improve on existing product and services in an area. Now, suppose one good example regarding for improving existing product and services in an area. For example, earlier we had candle filters. Then we started having AquaGuard. After AquaGuard came, now we are having RO filters. So it depends on, now we are improving on the existing product. That is, we are improving on the product, which example which I have taken is filters. For example, mobile phones also, if you see, earlier mobile phones were just used to type the number and used to call. Then came the touchscreen phone. Then you had the improvements of smartphones where you have different apps. So there is being a considerable improvement in the existing product and services. Replicate business idea from other geography or sector. Franchise model is a specific case of this. So here you're generally trying to replicate a particular business idea from a geography or a sector. Can someone give me example of how we have replicated some ideas from other geography or sectors? We have got several examples in India where we have replicated from outside.
Ma'am, DMart.
Okay, DMart we have replicated of which example? Any from other geography or sector? DMart, okay, we have started in one state and we have replicated in other states. Okay, good example. Any other?
मैम एक और एग्जांपल जो है वो है कू ऐप जो कि रिजेंबल करता है ट्विटर से.
Okay. And I've got some examples in this also. Chat, Flipkart, Ola. Okay. Good examples given. So these are e-commerce examples. If you see McDonald's, it's also a replica of McDonald's from USA. So we have got franchisee models over here. So KFC, all these are replicas and they are having franchisees over here. So we are having several outlets in India. Now create something brand new. That is also one thing. Entrepreneurs can create something brand new. So it's not just only you are seeing a problem, finding out, or you're improving on existing product, or you're taking a franchisee. You may create something brand new and bring into the market. Okay, so that also can be considered as an example of an entrepreneur. For example, Titan watches, they came out with their new Raga range, and that was something new which they had created, and it was a hit among the consumers. Now let's take some case studies. Now we have seen certain examples as to how the ideas have been converted into business. Now let's see some case studies. One is Comfort Keepers. is a good example of an idea which came to a mind of a person, identifying the problem of increasing number of senior citizens wanting to stay in their homes and provide a flexible high value service. So if you see, as the population grows old, we are having a lot of senior citizens, and we have got old age homes also. But this person came out with the idea of providing services at their home care services at the place where the senior citizen is living. So in his own house. So home care needs is one example of solving the problem of the senior citizens. So identifying this problem and finding out a solution helped in getting a good demand. Now this person started Comfort Keepers, and he started his website where people could put the demand where they wanted the service. And as a result, he started earning revenue with this new idea of giving home care needs at the place where the senior citizen is living. Second example is of the Stripe, founded by two Limerick brothers. So they spotted a problem whereby companies were struggling to accept credit card payments on web. So generally payments are done by your credit card or debit cards, but there was problem with certain companies were not accepting. So they started with this Stripe payment, where it was one of the world's best startup companies. So I've taken this example of Stripe as it has come as the best example in startups. So this helped in payment, and it was accepted in lieu of credit card payments. So this is one case study too. So generally, when you as students start a new startup, you should be having something innovative idea in your mind, which will generally help the people, as well as it will help you in earning revenues. And such idea should not go out of market after 1 year. So you need to have certain ideas where your startup is going to earn you good revenues for coming 5 to 10 years. Now, case study 3, Apple. You all are aware about Apple iPhones. Apple didn't invent anything radically new. They just blew away the existing competitors by brilliantly designed products which were easy and fun to use. Can you all tell me which competitors did Apple have competition and how they surpassed the competition? What innovation did they do?
Ma'am, when Apple started their own OS, operating system,
Yes.
they have a competition with Google with Android one. And so they keep it their UI very simple and easy to use. That's why they are so much famous. And
okay, right, Ritik. Anybody else who would like to say? Who are the competitors that Apple okay, at start, Aman is saying at start Nokia were the leaders and not Apple or Google, right? Nokia was the leader in the mobile phones. You would see Nokia phones in everybody's hand, and Nokia was complacent. They felt that nobody could overtake them, and Apple suddenly came out with their touchscreen phones, and suddenly Nokia lost the market. So Apple invented their app stores also. And we see that you have iTunes and the App Store approach in Apple. I'm seeing in chat also some students are giving, okay, Shubham Deep had said Samsung. Yes, Samsung was also a competitor for Apple, but Apple has given good apps also. So people are going for the Apple phone. So this is the case study 3 which we have taken. I see good interaction among the students, and this is very nice that you are all answering. Okay, Nokia, Rahul says Nokia lost to Android phones. Okay, and Linux also. Okay, so we have seen the case study 3. Now let's see case study 4, that is Radisson's CIT Rubicon. Now, see, Radissons were revolutionizing the testing for infectious diseases from days, weeks in labs to getting results in minutes. Now, Radissons came out with a innovative testing system where they could test the infectious disease in few minutes. Generally, it used to take that sample used to be taken, and then it used to take few days or weeks to find out what infectious disease a person is having. But they came out with a system where they could get in minutes. Then we have case study. Now in India also we have got several this like Radisson. We have got several pathology labs which are giving results in few minutes. Now Dees Whole Foods. Now Dees is Dees was an Irish-based manufacturer of organic burgers. In India, you see a lot of organic items. There's a lot of demand for organic items, and people are going for organic wheat, organic food, etc. So in Ireland, there was one person who saw in our office that people were bringing generally gluten-free. They wanted food, wheat-free, soya-free, meat-free food. So she noticed that colleagues were bringing pitta bread for lunch, and then she made veggie burgers at a barbecue, and they all were eaten. She left her job and concentrated on the business of selling her products at farmers market. So she identified what was the need in the market. So the need was for organic food, and she immediately started having the gluten-free and wheat-free, soya meat-free items for the consumers. And since her job was taking the time, so she left the job and started with this Dees Whole Foods. Now case study 6, Mind Candy. Now this Mind Candy is a concept where small children wanted to have pets. All small kids like to have pets at their house, but it's not possible for everybody to keep pets at home. So this Moshi Monsters is an online world of adoptable pet monsters aimed at boys and girls aged 6 to 12 with 65 million users. Registered in 150 territories worldwide. So they are having worldwide market. So 65 million registered users are there, and they're having this online world of adoptable pet monsters. So what you can do with this game, you can adopt your own pet, chat with the pet, play games, and all these over 50 million monsters were adopted by children. So it was a virtual pet, having virtual pet instead of a live pet. So the founder was Michael Action Smith. Then case study 7 is the Wavebreak Media CIT Rubicon. Wavebreak saw future need of TV companies needed access to high definition clips of places and everyday life. So this Wavebreak company, what they saw, this TV companies require high definition clips to show in their news or during their editorial board. So generally what they did is that they started with a company where they could take the HD clips, animation clips, etc., and give it to these newspapers or to the television companies to give as with their news. So they saw a future need of these TV companies. Then we are seeing case study 8, that is Rosso Solini. Tara Houghton, 16-year-old in Kildare spotted a huge interest in designer shoes with color soles. Generally, girls generally when they are teenagers, they like to wear different shoes, sandals, etc. So every time you cannot buy matching to your clothes. So she found out a concept where as per your color, as per your color of the dress, you could change the color of the soles of your shoes. And now she's selling designer sole makeover kit in 23 countries. So she's not restricted to her own country, but she is selling this designer sole makeover kit in 23 countries. Can you all give me any example of like this entrepreneur where you see it has started in India as well as gone abroad also? Yes, any example? We have seen several case studies now in pathology lab. We have seen wave break. We have seen now in designer shoes. So anything which comes to your mind where we have captured Indian market as well as the international market. Any startup, okay, any startup nearby your place. You all must have read about various articles. Okay, there's one example of a lady who was working in a software company. One day she went by plane and she saw that Indian food is not served on planes. And she started this Indian food in US, and now she is running several hotel chains of Indian food. We see various Indian food but she started with the typical traditional Indian food, and now you see all planes are also serving over there Indian food. So this is one concept which the need was felt and it was identified and it was served. Any other the startup ideas which come to your mind? Which have been started in India?
Ma'am, in chat box, Aman Mishra is saying Cafe Coffee Day.
Okay. I'll just check the chat box. Okay, Big Muscle Nutrition is an Indian brand. Okay, Imran has said Big Muscle Nutrition. Okay, VLCC, right? Nykaa also now you see it has it has gone into the IPO market and it has made lot of returns for the person. Now she is the second Nykaa owner is the second richest person. Patanjali, yes. Sahil has given good example of Patanjali. Patanjali items first it captured the Indian market. Now it has captured the whole market. Dried Suraj is saying dried green vegetables from India to abroad, right? We generally Indians when they go abroad they don't find all the vegetables which they eat in India over there. So people are cutting vegetables in India, defreezing it and then sending it to the wholesalers in the US. Tata Hotels, okay, good example. Yes, so most of you all have answered. We have got good products which have been manufactured in India and they are being accepted all over the world. For example, Patanjali suddenly captured the whole Indian market. It gave competition to Hindustan Unilever and now it is selling products abroad also. Now let's see the next case study. Okay, we'll go now to the approaches for spotting opportunities initially. Now, what approach you need to have for spotting opportunity initially? Most entrepreneurs spot opportunities and either in their career area or an area they are passionate about. So if you're doing a job and you find that, okay, I'm into this engineering field and I feel that software. If I have, I can use this software for easy manufacturing, etc., and precision work. So that time you have spotted the opportunity, and later on you convert it into a business or an area they are passionate about. Suppose a person is passionate to go into food business where there's a lot of profit. So that is, they are passionate about it. So they may go into that. Sometimes it just comes to them that they have a problem or hear about other people's problem, or they simply stumble on it. So you may either face the problem yourself, or you see a constant saying that this problem exists, how to solve it. So that is an opportunity. So how do you spot opportunity when people are complaining about something, or when you are also not satisfied with certain thing? Often they look for problems to solve through talking to businesses and consumers. So if you are passionate about starting your startup, you need to talk to various businesses as well as consumers to find out what are the needs. And in a small number of cases, they create something brand new. So in certain cases, you may create your new product, and this new product becomes successful also. Can you think of anything which a new product was brought into the market and it has become successful? Here, no problem was found out, no solution was found out. Directly, a new product was introduced and it became successful. Yes, you can put it in the chat. Mama Earth products. Kajal is saying Mama Earth products. Okay. What is this Mama Earth products? Kajal, can you tell about this? Beauty and healthcare products. Okay. Mama Earth includes face wash shampoo. Okay. So they came out with this face wash shampoo and it was successful. Okay, good. Then Bella Vita Organic. Okay, good example. So this was something new and it was accepted by the market. So it didn't become a flop show. Generally, certain products do not run successful and you have to take them out of the market. So these are some of the products, organic, as well as herbal face shampoos, etc. VLCC also was a good example, which they came out with something new and it was successful. So now we have seen what are the approaches for spotting opportunity. When I say that you spot an opportunity and use it, these are some of the approaches which you can use. Then opportunity due to societal changes. Now where you will find out how opportunities can be found out. Certain family and work patterns, the aging of the population. Now you see that most of the families are nuclear families and both husband and wife are working. So there are family and work patterns have changed over the years. Aging of the population is one concern, where we find that population is aging, but there's nobody to take care of them. So this is one opportunity for you to start up and find out how you can help them. For example, certain people require medicines at their place. Now you see, you just call up and the medicine is delivered. So that was one of the startup which was identified. Similarly, you can have startups with different ideas which can help the aging population. New models in the workplace, outsourcing, flexible contract models. Now, generally, if you see in workplace, everything is to be done. We used to have suppose you have a startup and you don't have that much funds to recruit several people. So you may outsource certain jobs like payroll, preparation of payroll, etc. is outsourced. Then certain manufacture of the product may be outsourced, or marketing may be outsourced. So this is new models in the workplace. Globalization of industry. So now outsourcing is also an opportunity for you. Suppose you require people who are looking to maintain the payroll, so accounting part. So that is a startup opportunity for you. If some people are looking out for marketing of their products, that is an opportunity for you. The globalization of industry. Now the markets are open. You can go and sell outside also. So it's not restricted to India. The increasing focus on healthcare and fitness. If we see nowadays, people are taking more care about their health as well as fitness. So you see a lot of protein diets, protein products are coming into the market. Fitness diets are there. So this is a startup opportunity for you all. So for example, recently we saw that people are preparing diet food and supplying to offices. So this startup is also started, that they are just preparing diet food and supplying it to the offices, because people do not have that much time to prepare diet food at home, because everybody's food consumption is different. So nobody all may not be eating the diet food. So startup has started where they can supply to the person who requires the diet food. The proliferation of computers and internet, social networking, cloud computing. Now, if you see, you have got a lot of social networking, you have got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So you'll find out a lot of opportunities due to this social networking. Cloud computing is also one concept which has come into the market, where you have storage on cloud. You don't have to maintain several storage spaces, so you can store on the cloud. The increase in the number of mobile users, that has also helped in finding number of ways. Can someone tell me how it has helped, the increase in number of mobile users, how it has helped the opportunities? What opportunities you are getting due to increase in number of mobile users? See, one opportunity is that you just when you start your own business, start some business, you can just put it on your WhatsApp group, what business you have started. The groups are there. These people groups are that can be sent to several other groups. And as you are all using mobile phones, your business is known immediately. So marketing aspect is reduced. Okay, digital marketing has become more approachable. Okay, and reachable, right? So on the mobile phone also, if one opens the Facebook also, on Facebook also you see several people have their page of startups. New forms of entertainment, due to new forms of entertainment, that is also an opportunity. So these are the opportunities due to societal changes. So the main thing what I want to tell you all is that due to the changing family and work patterns, due to the aging of the population, new models in workplace, globalization of industry, increasing focus on healthcare and fitness, proliferation of computers and internet, and increase in number of mobile users, new forms of entertainment have helped in finding various opportunities for starting business. Now let's see how this has been done. Check this out. Springwise.com, 8,000 people spotting new business ideas globally, chasing the next big thing. So springwise.com, if you go to this site, springwise.com, you will find a lot of new business ideas are there at Springwise. And you can also spot some opportunity for your business. Trendwatching.com, what are the trends happening globally? Now the recent trends are artificial intelligence. So how artificial intelligence can be used for your business, how you can have startup in artificial intelligence. This techreview.com is another site where you can find out various opportunities. And it is MIT Technology Review, where latest technologies are being used for setting up businesses. So these are some of the sites where you can find out opportunity. Now, just finding out opportunity is not enough. You need to validate the opportunity. So you'll ask the potential customers. For a business customer, what you will ask, does this help you to make money or save money? Okay, so this opportunity, once just finding out opportunity is not enough, you need to validate it. You need to find out whether it is feasible, whether it is useful, whether it is good. So first thing they are saying is ask the potential customers. Now, if he is a businessman, you'll ask that whether this opportunity is going to help you to make money or save money. If it is a consumer, you will ask, is this real value for you? Suppose this opportunity is there. If you start a business, whatever product you manufacture, is it of value to the consumer? For example, Patanjali came out with products which Hindustan Unilever was also manufacturing, but they came out with the products which were reasonable in prices as well as they were of good quality. So it was of real value to the consumer because they were getting the same quality at the reduced price, as well as it was certain herbal also, organic also. So consumers started shifting to from chemical based soaps to Patanjali soaps, where you see in Patanjali soaps aloe vera etc. was used, and they were giving real value to whatever the consumer was paying. So this is one, validating the opportunity. Second, validating the opportunity is checking the market. Is this out there today? Are other startups working on this? Are large mature companies talking about or planning to move into this area? Now, what does this mean, checking the market? Any one of you can answer. What do you understand by this? First, I said ask the consumers. Now I'm saying checking the market. Okay, market surveys. Okay, Suraj has said about market surveys. Anybody else? To make sure the situations are in favor or not. Finding competition. Okay. Now let's go back to our slide. What they're saying is that in the earlier slide, if you see, I had said ask the potential customers. When you're validating the opportunity, first ask your customers, is it of value what you are manufacturing to them? Or if it is a business, to whom you're going to say, are they going to make money or save money? Next thing is, I'm asking you check the market. That is this out there today? So what you will see, what idea you have, is it already there in the market? So you'll find out, is it there already in the market? If it is not there, are other startups also working on this? So you will find out that also. And are large companies talking about it or planning to move in? See, if large, more mature companies are talking about or planning to move into this area, you have got a good idea. Before them, you may have a market capturing of the market before the large companies come into this. So your idea is something which is really going to make good business. It's an indication from the positive side. From the negative side, you may see that you will have a lot of competitors for your product. So once you come out with the market, if other startups also start, then you will have a lot of competition. Other large companies will produce it on large scale and they'll give it at a cheaper rate. So that's a competition. That is a negative part. But if you see on the positive side, if you have a good idea and if you bring into the market, you may be the pioneer and your product may be of first purchase by the consumers. So this is one thing you need to check the market, what's happening. Validate the opportunity. Don't be worried if other companies are either in this market or planning to enter. This is positive as it validates the market. So you are sure that there is a market. What it's saying, if your idea is going to be taken by other startups also and other large companies, means your product is having a market. So you have a confirmation for the market of your product. Most markets can handle several local and global players. So you find there are local and global players at the same time. If you see, we had Star Bazaar, we had Reliance Market. but the local grocers are also there. So both markets were handled. You then need to assess how your value proposition will differentiate with other players. Now, the main concern for you would be how you will distinguish your value proposition with other players. See, we have Big Basket, we have Reliance, we have Star Bazaar, all have their own chain of supplying grocery items as well as other items. But there is some value proposition which differentiates them. It may be either price. DMart, if you see, DMart is giving at a very lesser price than all these stores. So that is their value proposition. So you need to assess your value proposition. I hope I'm clear to y'all, all of y'all. Is it going okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are validating the idea. And further, third part is ask experienced veterans in this area. So first slide we had seen, ask potential customers. Then we saw second, find out whether it is feasible, good in the market. That is there any startup handling this idea or any big company also going into manufacturing of this product? Now, third thing is that they're asking us experienced veterans in this area. It's invaluable to get an independent view on an opportunity from an expert in an area. So when you are starting with certain product or business, if there is an expert who is into this business, or you can take their view through contacts, family, friends, find an experienced veteran to get their brutally honest assessment. Now, if you see experienced person who has done his business and now has retired, will give you honest assessment, because he is not in competition with you, neither he wants to do any business, but he can honestly assess whether your product will last in the market and how you can go about capturing the market. You do have to be careful about balancing disclosing a strong business idea, but most folks respect confidentiality and would be anxious to help a new startup. Now here they are saying that you need to balance a strong business idea, because it may be generally there is a fear that your business idea may be taken by someone else if you're going to discuss it. So, but mostly experienced people, veterans, they generally maintain confidentiality, and your idea may not be disclosed. Confidentiality will be maintained, but you will get an independent view and honest assessment by validating your opportunity. So just identifying an idea and opportunity is not enough. You need to validate it by finding out with your consumers, with the market, and with experienced people. Then the fourth part is asking for feedback and support from enterprise support agencies. So you need to, when you have an idea, you need to have the feedback from support agencies. Now, can someone tell me what are the support agencies?
Ma'am, for some commercial products, the support agencies are the retailers shop or the wholesale shop.
Retail shop, wholesale shop. Okay.
A support agency is like helping in our capital sources, manpower, that is going to assist us during our entrepreneurship.
Yes, right. Banks also play a very important role. If you go to the bank with your proposal, business proposal, they will give you feedback, because generally a lot of proposals come to the banks for financing. So they will give you feedback whether how you should be going about with your opportunity or idea. Then there are other support agencies like financial institutions, then certain boards like we have got District Industries Corporation, then SIDBI, Small Industries Development Board, etc. These all help in finding out whether your business is going to run successfully or not. So they'll give you a strong feedback. You would be surprised how clear the feedback can be when you are asking, would you support this with funds? Okay, so you will get a good feedback when you ask for funds. The person who is going to give you funds will give you a strong, good feedback about your business, and you should take this feedback with a pinch of salt so that you can modify in your business proposal what all feedback you receive. So this is validating the opportunity. Fourth. Now assessing, is there a viable business model? Now we have seen validating the opportunity. Now we'll see, is this a viable business model? Can you build, source, supply the product or service at a price customers will buy at and which can make you a sustainable profit? So you will need to find out, you prepare a viable business model where you will find out whether you will be able to supply the customers with the product which they want. And preliminary assessment would be how big is the market. So you will find out what is the local market, what is the national market, and what is the international market for your idea. How much will it cost? So you need to work out this also in your business model. If you want to build or provide the product or service, what is the cost of sales? What's the pricing model to ensure attractive to customer and can make a profit? So cost of sales would be your initial manufacturing cost. Okay, so raw material cost, factory cost, etc. And from that, what profit you get, you will find out. Then pricing model to ensure attractive to customers. So here your pricing should be such that it is attractive to the customer also, as well as you are also making a profit. It's not that you are just selling it to the customer at the price which they want, but you do not make a profit. So you will have to have a business model which satisfies both. How much investment would you need to bring the product to the market? So that is one important question which you need to assess in your business model. How much investment you would need to bring the product to the market? Just having a good idea is not enough. You need to find out what all funds are required, not just to convert the idea into the product, but also bringing the product to the market. That is your marketing advertising cost also, so that your product gets sold. Now, just all we have seen what all is to be done. We saw what is an idea. We saw what is an opportunity, difference between idea, opportunity. Then we took case studies of different ideas and opportunities converted into business. Then we saw that only opportunity is not enough. You need to validate it from consumer point of view, from market point of view, then from experienced people. Then we saw what is the what all needs to be there in your business model. That is your funding. Then your what all, how much team is required, what all is what all resources are required. Now, just don't be afraid of starting a business. They say that think big. Don't be constrained by, could I pull something like this off? It would need a lot of money to build this business. No one has ever thought of this, so it can't be good, be that good. How could I find? How could I find a team to build this business? So don't be afraid. I'm just admitting people. 1 minute.
Ma'am, you can continue. It will be done.
Okay. Okay. So what they're saying is think big. Don't be constrained by all these things. That now when I say I've given you several things, you validate your opportunity, etc. But this should not have a negative thought. They're saying that you can pull off. You don't. It would need a lot of money. That should not hesitate you. And someone will think, "Arey, this idea is nobody has ever thought about this idea. Will it be successful?" That comes to the mind of a person who has got an innovative idea, and he feels, "Arey, this idea will work or not." Don't be constrained by this. And can I find a team to build the business? You will certainly, once you have decided to start a business, to start with the new idea, you will automatically find people joining you. So they're saying think big. Don't be afraid. So this is one good advice for you all also, to start without thinking, without getting afraid about all these things. Face up to the truth early. While entrepreneurs are by nature optimistic, you're better facing up the brutal reality early if you see enough evidence that the business idea isn't viable. So you need to find out when the business idea isn't viable. You need to be, you should face the reality and scrap that business idea if it is not viable. Sometimes you can recast the original idea, but often you just have to face the truth that's not viable. Far better to focus energy on other opportunities rather than waste your own and other people's time. So what advice they're saying, that if you find that your business idea is not viable, focus your energy on other opportunities rather than wasting your own and other people's time and money. Now, suppose you have found out a genuine opportunity. Now you have come out several permutation combinations you have done, and now you have come out with a good genuine opportunity. Now what you will do? You will start first building the team. Then what product service, take patent for your product, intellectual property. How will we sell this? You need to find out how you want to sell your product, that is marketing. How will we finance this business? So you'll need to find out, prepare the financial plan. Now we have got idea generation, potential idea areas. In I'm giving you different sectors where you can generate ideas. Now we have seen the theoretical, now we have seen case studies also from a practical point of view. Now there are certain sectors which I'm suggesting which will help you to generate idea. First is the health, second gaming, telecoms and mobile, retail, fashion and beauty, apps, food, home, personal and local. These are the sectors where you have got an opportunity to start your own business. Suppose you want apps. Apps is one thing. Now, since you are from technical background, there are certain students developing apps and selling it. So apps is also one good area where you can start your business. Then gaming is there. Health. Nowadays, people are more concerned about their health. So health products also can be brought into the market. So these are some of the sectors where you can have startups. Health, what is the key trends happening? Use of smartphones and tablet computers to replace paper. Explosion in number of senior citizens. Use of technology to help them live at home. So you can develop technology which will help the senior citizens at home. Telemedicine, connecting up a patient's home to the hospital using broadband to monitor serious conditions. So how you can use technology? At the patient's home, you can have the app where the patient's health is monitored and it's communicated to the hospital, and the hospital can communicate as to what medicines are to be given. Huge number of apps track your fitness workouts, remind you all about diabetes medication for etc. Now there's one app which is this sunburn detection, a new paper wristband from Scotland. It responds to UV light levels, turning from yellow to pink when the levels have reached their safe limit, and thereby alerting the wearer to the danger of sunburn. So if you are saying that you need to have sunlight, you need to have vitamin D, this wristband, if you put, it automatically turns to pink when the danger level of sunburn starts. Tablet reminder. This is also a good innovation in health, where it's internet connected pill reminder caps. Over half of people on prescription tablets forget to take their medicine. Glow caps help the patient to take the tablet at the right time with special reminder lights as well as smartphone reminders. It organizes automatic refill from your chemist. So this glow cap, it will automatically glow at the time, and you will know. See, when old people are there, they don't know which tablet to take. So accordingly, if it is connected to the app, the right at suppose 12 o'clock, the light will glow. At 7 o'clock in the evening, the light will glow. So that person knows that this medicine is to be taken at that time. So gaming also, you have got mobile games, Bubbles, Safari, Farmville, etc. Then you have got augmented reality games, huge growth. Moshi Monsters is something in gaming. So I'll not take this all this. Telecom and mobile. Key trends are Wi-Fi everywhere, paying for small items with your phone. If you see now, we are having Google Pay, etc., Paytm for paying. Internet of Things, everything will be connected. A lot more spam and security problems will happen. So you can have some solution to these security problems. See this new app from Denmark that significantly reduces the chance of a driver falling asleep at the wheel. So it detects if the person is not awake, automatically the buzzer goes on and he wakes up. Uganda has huge problems managing supply of critical medicine. This use of new mobile system based on text messages transforms the healthcare. So these are some of the examples. Retail, online, pop-up shops, etc., advanced loyalty schemes. Nowadays you see on Flipkart, etc., Myntra, kids skincare, fashion and beauty, apps, location-based services, social networking, mobile search, mobile commerce. So there's an app for almost everything. Cooking app, food. Now world is struggling to feed 7 billion people. Huge focus on healthier food. Huge growth in functional foods like probiotic yogurts, etc. Foods which reduce cholesterol. So these are certain ideas where you can have startups. So now I'll go to the entrepreneurial mindset. Now what it says is entrepreneurial mindset is unique in that one must be creative, communicative, and highly motivated to succeed, yet open to risk and failure. It's not a big idea alone that paves the path to ultimate entrepreneurial success. So what they're saying is the mindset, one should be creative, one should be communicative, highly motivated, yet open to risk and failure. Now the 5 critical success factors are sacrifice. That is, if you are starting a business, you need, are you willing to sacrifice your short-term benefits for the long term? So in the have profits, but in the long term you will have profit. So are you ready to sacrifice? Experience. Do you have some business or related experience? If you have some experience, you can start the business. Leadership. Do you like being a leader? Then you are a person fit to be a startup entrepreneur. Organize. Are you organized in your working? Then you are a good entrepreneur. Optimism. There should be high level of optimism. You should not get scared by small failures. So these are some of the critical success factors. Examples of entrepreneurs. We've seen Mr. Narayan Murthy, Mukesh Ambani, Ratan Tata, Azim Premji, Kiran Mazumdar. Now, we have taken a case study of small medium enterprises, and I've studied the level of entrepreneurial mindset in this small medium enterprises. So what it says that focus on execution is 48%. 47% pursue only the best opportunities, while 52% pursue opportunities with enormous discipline. That is 52% have discipline and they pursue these opportunities, and 41% seek only new opportunities. Now, what are the level of factors that are entrepreneurial mindset? So first is if you see in this whole circle, creativity and motivation are the 2 factors that influence the entrepreneurial mindset on a larger scale. Then comes the risk, growth mindset, awareness about small, medium enterprise support services. So these are other factors. Now, what are the entrepreneurial mindset traits? Now, what we have seen, entrepreneurial mindset is one who is creative, communicative, etc. in this definition we had seen is creative, communicative, highly motivated to succeed, yet open to risk and failure. So on that basis, they have come out with these traits. That is, he should be independent, responsible, goal-oriented, not afraid of failure, growth-oriented, feedback-seeking, should be ready for feedback, and learning-oriented. It's not that entrepreneur knows everything. He should be on a learning mode. Forward-thinking, self-accepting, self-aware, collaborative, courageous, and comfortable with discomfort. That is, in a discomfort, that is if he is making losses or if he is not having or resources are not enough, still he should be comfortable with that discomforts. Adaptable, problem solving, driven and tenacious, focused, action oriented, and decisive. These are some of the entrepreneurial mindsets. Now let's see the three mindsets that make an entrepreneur a leader. The popular ones are people-oriented mindset, purpose-oriented mindset, and learning-oriented mindset. These are the three mindsets which make an entrepreneur a leader. So what is people-oriented mindset? A people-oriented mindset means he's positive and appreciative, as well as inclusive and open. That is, he includes people in the decision making. He is positive and appreciative of their ideas. So this is called as people-oriented mindset. Then we have got the learning-oriented mindset. In this, he is listening and picking up signals. That is what is happening in current business. What are the trends happening? So he's listening and picking up those signals. Experimenting. That is, he loves to experiment with the ideas. Suppose now Patanjali, they took up the signal that people wanted herbal products. So they experimented. They took the risk of bringing those products into the market. So that is experimenting and risk-taking. Now, what are the mindsets of successful entrepreneurs? Reach out first. They reach out to customers first. Find a new market for existing product. Use network to build business. Give without expecting return, and keep control of the vision, of your vision. Understand the power of brand. Focus your energy on what's good for your business. Always maintain quality control and take ownership of whatever they do. Now, one new concept which has come into entrepreneurship is corporate entrepreneurship. It is defined as the process by which teams within an established company conceive, launch a new business that is distinct from the parent company, but leverages the parent's assets and market position. In simple words, it means that in an entrepreneur, there are a set of people who feel that they should start a new business. So in that company only, they are encouraged to start a new called as corporate entrepreneurship. More than just new product development, it may include innovation in services, channels, brands, and so on. So they may come out with an innovation in particular service, or they may come out with a new product. So in corporate entrepreneurship is encouraged. So without leaving your job, and if you want to start a new business, this companies are giving encouragement to the people to start the business while you are in job. Now the four models of corporate entrepreneurship are the enabler, the producer, the opportunist, and the advocate. These are the four models which have been identified by MIT Sloan Management Review. Now, who is an enabler? Employees will be willing to develop new concepts if adequate support is given. That is called as enabler. Google company is an enabler. It has given employees the freedom to develop new products, new concepts, and it is giving them support system. Then there is a company called the producer. Now, producer, what it does, it dedicates funds and resources. So producer is also like an enabler, and it's giving them funds and resources. Whereas the opportunist, support is given. You need to set up your business without any support, only you need to find out the opportunities. That is the opportunist. And the advocate, here company gives limited resources. It does not give full resources, it gives limited resources and finds out the profits. So these are the 4 models of corporate entrepreneurship. The enabler, like Google, which is giving full support systems to start a business within the company without leaving the job. The producer, who is giving resources. The advocate, who is giving few resources. And the opportunities, which is giving no resources and just banking on the opportunity. So we have seen the 4 models of corporate entrepreneurship. Now, I think so. We have come to the time. So what I have covered in today's session is what is an idea, what is an opportunity, difference between idea and opportunity. Then we have seen several case studies about ideas and how they were converted into businesses. We have seen case study 1, case study 2, case study 3 of Apple, 4 of Radisson's, 5 of D Whole Foods, 6th of Mind Candy, where how pets were maintained, Waybreak Media, case study Rosso Solini, and we saw what approaches one can do have for spotting opportunity. Then we have seen the sites, various websites where you can get ideas. Now, just having ideas and opportunities is not enough. You need to validate the opportunities. So we have seen ask potential customers, check the market. Then we have seen ask experienced veterans, ask for feedback from support agencies, then only convert your idea opportunity into a business. Then you prepare a business model. We saw what all is required in a business model. Then final thing they said is that you don't get worried by what your business, by the negative aspects. Think big. Even if you don't have a lot of money, don't get disheartened. Don't get disheartened with your innovative idea and about how to maintain team. They've said face the truth early, find out if your business idea is viable, otherwise shift to other opportunity. And if you have a genuine opportunity, how one should go about, that is all what we have seen. I've given you certain sectors where your ideas can be generated and you can have your own startups in these sectors. We have seen the key trends in health, what all new products like sunburn detection, tablet reminders, gaming, telecom, that is anti-sleep device for drivers. These are some of the examples of startups which I've given. Then we saw the entrepreneurial mindset and what is it, what are the key sectors, critical success factors. Then we saw level of entrepreneurial mindset in small, medium enterprises. We saw level of factors that influence entrepreneurial mindset. And we have seen the 3 mindsets that make an entrepreneur a leader: people-oriented, purpose-oriented, learning-oriented. Then we saw what is corporate entrepreneurship and the 4 models of corporate entrepreneurship. Now, I think so I'll end my session. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask.
So, dear participants, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat box. And if you want, you can switch on your video and you can ask directly also.
Okay, I'm finding a lot of thank yous and good feedback about the session. I'm very delighted that you liked the session. Thank you. And I've given you certain sectors where you can think of starting your own businesses. So think about those sectors where you can start your own startups. And I would be happy that we find a lot of entrepreneurs coming out from your university.
One question has come up from Suraj. What is your view on social entrepreneurship?
Okay. My view is that it's a very good concept of social. Generally, nowadays we find that everybody is just going for profit. So if you consider from the social point of view, if you're going to help people solve their problem, as well as introduce in the market certain products, it will certainly help the solving the problem of the society, as well as it will give you satisfaction of being an entrepreneur. So it's a good concept of social entrepreneurship. I hope I've answered your question, Suraj.
Yeah, okay. So Lakshit wants to know, how can we work on environmental entrepreneurship?
Okay, it's a good question. Environmental entrepreneurship. See, we can work on this by having products that protect the environment and that do not cause hazards in the environment. There are certain examples of hotel industry where you find that they emphasize on green. So whatever products they give are certain, for example, hand towels or paper, etc. Things which can be disposed of without causing harm to the environment. So these are some of the concepts which are being used by industries, and that is called as environmental entrepreneurship, where you emphasize that the hotel says in its lobby, entrance lobby only, that we are green and we protect the environment. That gives a strong message to people coming to that hotel that it's something which they have gone into environmental entrepreneurship.
Related to the previous question by Suraj only regarding social startups, does people invest in social startup? And if yes, what is their motive behind this investment?
See, people invest in social entrepreneurship. Certain philanthropists, they think they have certain funds which they want to give to the society. So if you have a good idea, these people will invest, and the return is they do not expect certain profits. And what they were going to give the funds for certain organizations, they have invested in this small startup ideas of yours, which you're going to help the society. So that is the main purpose of people investing in your business.
So I think, so anybody else who is the investments are covered under CSR? Suraj is asking again, social entrepreneurship.
CSR investment is done by corporates. Corporates have to give certain percentage of their profits to for the social responsibility. So that is a different concept. And if a corporate gives for this, then it comes under CSR. If a philanthropist gives, it is a different than CSR.
So anybody else who have any question for Dr. Gauri Prabhu? So I think we are done with this session now. So thank you, Dr. Gauri Prabhu. Indeed, it was a very informative session. And I hope students must have learned a lot of things from you. And they will apply these things in their future for the upcoming startups if they are thinking of doing opening of startups. And it will literally help them to grow big in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Aditya Veer Singh, for giving me an opportunity. And the students were very interactive. I also enjoyed while delivering the session. And seeing the feedback of students, I'm also delighted that they found this session amazing and a good session. I'm sure that students will use this knowledge for starting their business. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Shall I leave?
Yes, ma'am, you can. So students, again, the link is same for the feedback, and it will be open till 1:45. You can give your feedback and mark at attendance also.